this summer, footballers and fans will flock to Europe for the greatest soccer event on the planet. Their destination, Germany. The World Cup 2006 promises to be the biggest and best soccer showcase ever. Millions will flock to the state-of-the-art stadiums, billions will watch on TV. The planet will stop as the world's footballing elite go head-to-head for the most prestigious prize in the game. And it will all kick off on the 9th of June in Munich and will end on the 9th of July, when the eyes of the world will focus on Berlin's historic Olympic Stadium for the biggest single event in the sporting calendar. In between, there'll be a month of explosive action played against the backdrop of some of Germany's most exciting cities. Later on in this programme, we'll be looking at Group F, but first let's look at Group E. Heading the group of three-time World Cup winners, Italy, looking to lift the trophy for the first time since 1982. Hoping to cause a giant upset are African qualifiers Ghana, who've made it to their first ever World Cup finals. 1994 host the USA, who'll be determined to improve on the quarter-final finish they had in Japan, South Korea. And finishing off this tough group are the Czech Republic. This could be the last World Cup visit for Czech legend Pavel Nedved, and he'll be looking to go out in style. Italy's trophy cupboard has been bare for more than 20 years, and the Azzurri go into World Cup 2006 ranked 12th, below such teams as Mexico, Turkey and the USA. As three-time winners, Italy are usually among the favourites at major tournaments, but it may be a little different this time. Even if little is expected of Marcello Lippi's team, they feel there's enough class in the squad to mount a serious challenge.
Every year, every time there's an international competition, there's always talk of Italy being among the favourites. But I don't think we should worry about being favourites. We should only worry about going out on the pitch with the right frame of mind and with the desire to get the right result.
Italy, frankly, in the last few years has never really been among the favourites. But this should spur us on, to make us realise that we don't just automatically command respect, but that we have to go out and earn it.
We play more like a team now. When we go out on the pitch, we have a true team ethic, and even when we're suffering under pressure, we can come through it together in style.
Thanks largely to Mr. Lippi, we've now put together a solid, unified team, and we've finally understood that by using our strength as a group, we can go forward. But we do also have individuals like Totti, Del Piero and Cassano, who, if they stay in good shape over that period, have the ability to change games.
Once the bright young hope of Italian football, Alessandro Del Piero now finds himself as something of a veteran. It wasn't too long ago that he was being lauded by the press as the new Roberto Baggio, and 2006 may see Del Piero's last chance of achieving what Baggio failed to do and lift the World Cup trophy. Blighted by injuries, Del Piero has never quite realised his potential on the biggest stage of all. However, Del Piero's recent form for club side Juventus has seen the forward return to his best, and the Italian fans will be hoping this continues in Germany. Francesco Totti has never been able to transfer his finest club form onto the international stage. Despite a poor strike rate at the highest level and inconsistent performances, Totti still warrants his place. Totti is an unquestionable talent who on his day is a match for any player in the world, and he'll be looking at the tournament in Germany as the perfect opportunity to put a difficult couple of seasons at Roma to one side and remind the world what a talent he can be. Other players breaking through for Italy at the top level include AC Milan's gifted playmaker Andrea Pirlo, Fiorentina's colossal frontman Luca Toni, Tony has been grabbing the headlines in Italy thanks to his goal-scoring exploits. A prolific debut season at Fiorentina has seen the powerfully built striker muscle his way into Marcello Lippi's plans, and he'll be a threat to defences this summer. Daniele De Rossi is widely regarded to be Italy's most exciting prospect. De Rossi plays his club football in the Italian capital with AS Roma and has been winning fans with a series of tough tackling displays. And taking care of the ball winning in the midfield is hard man Rino Gattuso. Italy were drawn in a tough group and the qualification campaign kicked off with a home tie against main Group 5 rivals Norway. They made an instantly disastrous start and went behind to this John Carew goal in the first minute. Roma's Daniele De Rossi equalised just 3 minutes later. But it wasn't until late in the second half that the relentless goal machine Luca Toni scored the winner, deftly tucking the ball in at the near post. But qualification wasn't going to be an easy task, and after a surprise defeat away to Slovenia, Italy travelled to Scotland under pressure to get back to winning ways. But an informed Scotland took an early lead, Kenny Miller crashing home a powerful header past Angelo Peruzzi to finish an excellent move. And out of form, Italy had to wait until the 75th minute for their slightly fortunate equaliser. Palermo midfielder Fabio Grosso volleying home after confusion in the Scottish penalty area. They were deemed lucky to have got the draw.
After that draw with Scotland, the critics really massacred us, but we responded to it in the right way.
That response was a 4-1 win away in Belarus, and then Italy finally secured qualification with a game to spare. On a balmy night at the Renzo Barbera Stadium in Palermo, Marcello Lippi's team made amends for their earlier defeat to Slovenia, and it was fitting that local hero defender Christian Zaccardo scored the goal that booked their seats to Germany. Ultimately, Italy qualified comfortably as group winners. The whole country breathed a sigh of relief, including Italy's record cap holder.
It's a very resilient team. There's a lot of enthusiasm and some players of real quality. I think that if we can stay in that kind of condition for the World Cup, then I think we'll have a say in the competition.
And Italy made an important statement when they hammered the Netherlands 3-1 in a friendly in Amsterdam. The Netherlands scored first through Ryan Babel, but after that it was one-way traffic. Alberto Gilardino scored the equaliser. And Mauro Camoranesi put Italy in the lead via a deflected header on the stroke of half-time. In the second half, Luca Toni muscled his way through the Dutch defence and finished emphatically. But then Italy's Jekyll and Hyde character came out just a few days later when they struggled to get a draw against a muscular Ivory Coast side wanting to make a vital impression. Chelsea's Didier Drogba outpaced the Italian defence and hammered home the goal that looked like it would inflict the Azzurri's first ever defeat to an African team. But Italian honour was salvaged 4 minutes from time by Sampdoria midfielder Ayamo Diana, scoring his first goal in the national team shirt. One omen in Italy's favour could be the return to the side of keeper Gianluigi Buffon, who will have recovered from a shoulder injury and will be raring to go.
I'll be really fresh because after 4 months of inactivity, I'll arrive at the World Cup as fresh as a daisy, and so hopefully I'll be able to give a big hand to my teammates.
Una mano maggiore ai miei compagni.
So with the big man back between the posts, what are Italy's chances?
We've always set out in a tournament with a big desire to go a long way. I think that as a team we've changed a lot, so we'll go out there and then let's see what we're capable of.
Yes, we qualified well. We qualified early, just like the Italian team did in 1982, which we're really proud of. So let's hope that we can go on to live up to what our colleagues did in 1982.
To finish in the top 4 teams at the World Cup would actually be a pretty good effort, so we need to take it game by game and hope to go as far as possible.
The cosmopolitan city of Hamburg is the most northerly of all the World Cup 2006 venues. Nestled on Germany's North Sea coast, this historical city has grown up around its busy international harbour. The harbour has been welcoming traders from all over the world since the early part of the 10th century. However, come June the 10th, it will be fans from Argentina and the Ivory Coast who will be flocking to this vibrant city. Like so many German cities, Hamburg underwent major reconstruction in the middle of the 20th century, and visitors will be treated to a marriage of new and old architecture. Hamburg is also a great place to relax and boasts a lavish selection of couture boutiques, restaurants and high street shops. For those who prefer to leave the shopping to others, then a walk around the Old Town will reveal an insight into the city's colourful history and allow you to see some wonderful sculptures and statues. At night you can be sure that those celebrating victory will be heading to the Reeperbahn. This is where the Beatles came to hone their talents before taking the world by storm, and it's still the place where all the locals go for a good night out. HSV Hamburg play at the AOL Arena, and as one of the largest stadiums in Germany, it will be a fantastic venue for the 5 World Cup games that will be played here. Although the pitch is undergoing a bit of a tanning session, it's sure to be in great shape when the tournament kicks off in June. Located in the Rhineland-Palatinate of southwest Germany, Kaiserslautern is one of the smallest cities to host matches for the 2006 World Cup finals. The population of 110,000 are likely to be overwhelmed by the visiting supporters, and the city has been racing to prepare facilities in anticipation of the fans from Australia, Italy, Spain and Paraguay. Kaiserslautern is a small peaceful city with a provincial feel. Life here is slow, quiet and tranquil. The 11 French sculpture in the heart of the city is new for 2006 and is intended to illustrate the ethic by which all successful teams must abide. The Fritz-Walter Stadium is perched on the side of the valley in which Kaiserslautern lies. Amidst the trees, the 41,000-seat stadium is named after the legendary German World Cup winning captain of 1954. The stadium, which has recently undergone a €48 million extension, will host 5 World Cup matches, the first of which will be Australia's game against Japan on the 12th of June. Nicknamed the Black Stars, Ghana have been leading lights in African football but have never really shone on the world stage. They have a record second to none in the African Cup of Nations, and they've produced some of Africa's greatest footballers, among them Tony Yeboah and Abdoulaye Pele. Despite boasting such talent, this is the first time in 9 attempts that Ghana have qualified for the World Cup finals.
We never qualify, and if we look at the history, they say Ghana have good talent, but they never been to the World Cup. It's the dream of Ghana and also to the people that we qualify for the World Cup.
We are going to the World Cup now, and we can see us, Cameroon, Nigeria, they always in top. and now they can make it in Togo, Angola, and other countries are making it. So you can see it's not easy. Everybody is developing now.
To this team that we have, I think all the guys they are very, very humble, and I think if you have like 20 Maradonas, without unity, you can't make it. And I think that's the secret. Yeah, there's unity in the team.
Although this is not a squad packed with soccer superstars, they have achieved what every other Ghanaian team has failed to do, because they're a strong, youthful outfit and have the all-important ability to gel as a team. This unity is due in no small part to their seasoned coach. Serbian Ratimir Djukovic was the man in charge at Red Star Belgrade when they lifted the European Cup in 1991. Renowned for being a no-nonsense manager, he stated a determination to make Ghana the dominant force in African football. Certainly as one of 4 African countries qualifying for their very first World Cup finals, Ghana has showed that the established order may be about to change.
We Africans, we are a lot in Europe, so we learn from Europe, and we take it to our country. So I think that's why African soccer is developing.
Qualifying certainly wasn't easy for the team. A defeat to Burkina Faso in their first game didn't bode well, but it was followed by a stunning home victory over South Africa, a feat that was repeated in the return fixture in Johannesburg. Beating one of the continent's most successful countries boosted Ghana's confidence. Just how strong they have become was clear in their last and deciding match of the qualifying campaign, when they travelled to the remote Atlantic islands of Cape Verde. Ghana won in a 4-0 rout. Goals from Frimpong Asamoah, Sally Muntari, Gyan Asamoah and Atram Godwin show that there is considerable firepower in this side.
We played our last game against Cape Verde, and we won 4-0 to qualify to the World Cup. And they gave a blackout in Ghana because I don't know what is going to happen.
Winning 6 out of 10 qualification matches ensured Ghana emerged top of their group with a healthy 5-point lead, booking their qualification slot in Germany 2006. Ghana's real strength lies in their midfield, where 3 truly world-class players dominate proceedings. Michael Essien is the most expensive player ever to come out of Africa. English champions Chelsea paid £24.4 million to wrest him away from Lyon. Nicknamed the Bison, he's almost impossible to knock over, and he dominates in the middle. Working well at either end of the pitch, he makes strong tackles and has a great eye for goal. Sally Muntari plays his club football for Udinese. At just 22, he's already an outstanding presence in midfield. Team captain Stephen Appiah is no stranger to playing in Europe. He's enjoyed spells at Udinese, Parma, Brescia and Juventus, but now plays for Turkey's Fenerbahce. His all-round skills makes him one of the most important players in the side, and as captain was the catalyst behind their qualification success. Up front is Matthew Amoah, Vitesse Arnhem's leading scorer last season. Meanwhile, taking care of business at the back is another European-based player, Sami Kufor. Qualifying for the World Cup has set Ghana alight. Their campaign begins on the evening of June the 12th in Hanover, when the World Cup novices clash with 3-time champions Italy. Although on paper Italy should outclass Ghana, who are only ranked 50th in the world, it's a clash their captain is relishing.
I would be happy to play against the Italian team, because all the guys, they are my friends, and I wanted to challenge them because I've been there for 8 years. Soccer has changed and there's a lot of surprises. You can see what happened against France against Senegal in the World Cup. So I think that everybody is ready to prove something.
It's not easy to be in a World Cup at this moment, and if you are there, you have to prove yourself and show yourself that you can make it. And not much people are expecting us to do something.
It's going to be difficult because we don't have the experience. This is our first time. But I think with the quality of players that we have, I can't say that we're going to win the World Cup, but we will cause surprises in Germany.
Hanover is one of Germany's 10 largest cities. It's a busy international trade centre, which is also famed for its tranquil surroundings, Baroque gardens, modern art, museums and fine entertainment. Like much of Germany, the streets of Hanover are peppered with cafes and bars. They're sure to be packed to the rafters when fans from all over the world will descend on Hanover for the matches that are to be played here. The Niedersachsen Stadium was completed in 1954, is home to Hanover 96 of the Bundesliga and was used during the 1974 World Cup. €64 million has been invested in modernising and refurbishing the stadium in preparation for the finals in 2006. It now boasts an all-seater 40,000 capacity. It's a very compact stadium which promises a great atmosphere for the 5 matches that will be played here. Games featuring Italy, Mexico, Croatia and South Korea will all feature, as well as one of the quarter-finals. USA's appearance in Germany will be their 5th consecutive showing on the world's biggest stage, and they're finally beginning to be taken seriously as a genuine footballing force. However, despite them occupying a position in the top 10 of FIFA's world ranking, they still have much to prove.
Anytime you look for respect, you have to show what you can do in a World Cup. Nothing else matters, friendlies, even qualifying. It's obviously important to qualify for a World Cup, but then you need to show it in World Cups. And we've certainly not done that on a consistent basis. To date, we've won 6 games in World Cup competitions in our history. I believe in 2002, Brazil won 6 games.
With the continuing dominance of their domestic sports, Team USA will be hoping this World Cup will help raise the game's profile in their homeland.
Playing for the United States obviously is an honor in itself, but you know, I think it also carries the weight of, you know, a relatively new country's you know, I guess representation of this world game. And I think America's desperately trying to catch up with the rest of the world, and you know, our progress as a nation is vital to that.
In the U.S., it's still, you know, people think the Olympics are bigger than the World Cups, and I think we still have a little ways to go with that.
It's been 12 years since the States hosted the World Cup, and USA 94's legacy is beginning to pay dividends. The National League is starting to thrive, and some of the nation's top stars are making an impact in Europe.
94 was very important for the growth of the game in the United States. It helped develop the professional league, and then certainly the professional league helped us qualify for 98. And although we didn't show well in France, we've continued to move forward and now qualified or been involved in the last 5 World Cups. So I think we're making great progress. Certainly, you see at the international level, our senior team has done well. All of our youth teams qualify for the World Championships. Our domestic league is now completed its 10th year, so we're making progress. It's a league that plays American players, which is critical if we're going to continue to develop our national team.
Every year, more Americans come abroad. It's certainly only going to help the team, only because of their experience, and obviously the leagues are just simply stronger.
And the US's new strength in depth was illustrated in a relatively comfortable qualifying campaign that culminated in a grudge match against their bitter rivals.
Anytime the US and Mexico play, whether it's a friendly or a qualifying competition, it's a very intense game, and our team played well that day, as did Mexico. The win was very important for us, and we did it in an impressive manner.
It was an unbelievable feeling, and I mean, it just kind of was a testament to how well we've done in the qualifying in the first few rounds, because we had 3 games left after that one, and we knew if we won that game that, you know, we were in automatically. And but we still knew we could, you know, you're still going to be able to get in. We still had some more games to get in, but you know, Mexico is our biggest rival, I think, and It was a big deal to beat them.
The 2-0 victory over Mexico was the USA's best display in qualifying and secured their place in Germany. However, despite cruising through qualification, Arena will be concerned by his team's performances away from home. The States had never got past the first round in Europe, and they fell to defeats against their 2 closest rivals. The first was at high altitude at Mexico City's Azteca Stadium. More than 100,000 supporters packed the famous venue, and most left happy after Jared Borghetti nodded the Mexicans in front before Zinner capped a fine move by calmly slotting home a second. The USA fought back in the second half and forced the Mexicans onto the back foot. And Eddie Lewis netted a consolation. But it was too little too late, and the US slumped to a disappointing, if now traditional, defeat at the hands of their arch rivals. And the USA's bad luck continued as they were torn to pieces when they visited Costa Rica. In a rain-lashed San Jose, a weakened USA side surrendered to the Ticos. Paulo Wanchope was the first to highlight the Americans' defensive frailties, and the USA offered little going forward after having a goal ruled offside. And they had no answer to the Costa Ricans in the second half, as Carlos Hernandez fired in 2 breathtaking goals. Despite the USA's struggles on the road, Arena will be impressed by his exciting crop of emerging young players.
The young players that are coming up now, some of them are just unbelievable. We've had a good core of older players, and now all of a sudden these young guys coming up. I mean, it just shows how much we're progressing.
Marcus Beasley at PSV, who plays on the left or sometimes in the middle, but creates a lot for us. And I think when he's on our game, he adds a special dimension.
And Beasley's partnership with Landon Donovan, the golden boy of the national side, will be key for the USA.
Landon's 23 years old, and Landon's got many World Cups ahead of him. He's a fantastic player, and we're hopeful that he hit stride in 2006 and shows well in the World Cup. Our veteran players led by Captain Claudio Reyna, who's at Man City. One of the strengths of the U.S. team has always been our goalkeeping, and Casey Keller this time around I think will be very strong, as was Brad Friedel in 2002.
Despite having a squad packed with talented individuals, the USA won't be relying on one man in particular.
The strength of our team is always going to be our fighting power, our ability to defend well in each and every game, and score goals from a variety of ways.
Last time around, it was very evident, but one of the strengths about the team is, it's not really filled with proper sort of superstars, if you will. It's a very team-oriented group that we have.
Having narrowly missed out on a seeding, the USA have found themselves in a tough group, but they remain upbeat.
We have tough teams, three very, very tough teams, and I think we have one of the hardest groups in the World Cup, and we just have to go into it thinking we can win every game and try and improve on the last World Cup and improve on our on our ability to win games and put teams away, and hopefully that'll happen.
I think we have to get through. The first stages. I think that's a must.
First of all, I'm pretty sure we're not going in as a favorite. I think I'm going to label Brazil as the favorite and put a little pressure on Germany and the other seeds. So in a way, not being seeded is great. We can kind of sit back and try to snatch a couple of victories and hopefully get out of group play.
After Munich, Nuremberg is the second largest city in Bavaria. Historically, Nuremberg was one of Europe's most important and culturally privileged cities. It was the unofficial capital of the Holy Roman Empire and residence to many German kings. Nuremberg was also home to the famous artist Albrecht Dürer, who was one of the founding fathers of the German Renaissance movement. The medieval Altstadt had to be almost completely restored following the Second World War. Now returned to its former glory, its many cafes, bars and restaurants are sure to be popular with visiting support. Home to FC Nuremberg of the Bundesliga, the Frankenstadion has been completely redeveloped for the 2006 World Cup. The total cost of the stadium's renovation is estimated at €56 million. The 44,000-seat stadium will host 5 games during the tournament and will stage its first match on the 11th of June when Mexico take on Iran. The small town of Gelsenkirchen lies in the Ruhr region of southwest Germany, nestled between Dortmund and Cologne. Gelsenkirchen dates back to the 12th century and rapidly industrialised in the 19th century with the discovery of large coal deposits. The discovery heralded an era of mass iron and steel production, which shaped this city into a thriving industrial heartland. Unfortunately, the last mine was closed in the late 90s, and Gelsenkirchen's small population now experiences one of the highest unemployment rates in Germany. However, as the heavy industry moved out of Gelsenkirchen, FC Schalke moved in. The impressive Veltins Arena was built in 2001 and represents a new generation of modern football theatres. The centrepiece is undoubtedly this remarkable retractable pitch. The playing surface spends most of its time outside the stadium to benefit from a shadow-free growing environment and is then moved back inside for match days. This massive 44,000-seat stadium is breathing new life into Gelsenkirchen, which will be sure to benefit from the 5 World Cup matches that are to be played here. The first of which will be on the opening day of the tournament, when Poland will take on Ecuador. The Czechs have 2 things to celebrate. This is the first time they've qualified for the World Cup under their own name, and they do so as the country at number 2 in the FIFA World Rankings. Coach Karel Bruckner's team failed at the semi-final stage to live up to their billing as favourites for Euro 2004, and so this talented squad have a point to prove in Germany 2006.
I believe we have a very good team, great selection, technically a strong team. Barros is very fast, Koll is very tall, we're incredibly dangerous. Pavel Nedved is back, and I believe we're a very strong team for the World Cup.
Milan Barros finished as the tournament's leading scorer at Euro 2004. Since then, he's added the Champions League winners' medal to his trophy cabinet and moved from Liverpool to rival Premiership side Aston Villa. In recent years, Barros and strike partner Jan Koller have been a permanent fixture in the national side, and a lot will be expected of them. However, coach Bruckner can also rely upon the impressive abilities of Chelsea's Petr Cech if things don't go quite to plan. Standing at just under 2 metres tall, the 23-year-old has a calmness and composure that are beyond his years. Cech is a great shot stopper, has impeccable handling skills, and unlike so many of his contemporaries, seems to thrive under pressure. He kept 7 clean sheets in the preliminaries, and the agile number 1 won't be giving many chances away at the World Cup. Playing in front of Cech will be midfield playmaker Thomas Rosicky. Rosicky is blessed with nimble feet, great vision, and a steely grit and determination that belie his meagre frame. Nicknamed the Dumpling after his favourite food, the wily midfielder scored 6 goals in the qualification campaign. In their first group match, the Czechs were faced with the sternest test their group could offer, an away trip to the Netherlands.
The qualifying was hard. We had a tough group. Finland was in the group, Holland was also. We were obviously happy to have made it through the playoffs.
The Czech Republic had drawn the Netherlands in the European Championship group stages as well as qualification. This match was the 4th meeting between these two sides since March 2003. In their last meeting, the Czech Republic had run out 3-2 winners and the Dutch were out for revenge. In the early stages, it was the home side who were making all the chances, and Czech was coming under some real pressure. However, the big keeper was equal to the challenge as Kuyt wrestled his way past the defence, only to see his shot comfortably gathered. Bruckner urged his side to respond, and Rosicky was unlucky to see his shot saved by Van der Sar. And despite flashes of brilliance, it wasn't to be their day.
They were 2 great close games against Holland. Over there we played particularly well and we were unlucky to lose.
Unfortunately for the Czechs, they lost the game as the enigmatic Van Hooijdonk netted twice. Despite losing 2 more games in the group, they finished 2nd and had to endure a playoff against Group 5 runners-up Norway. But then their biggest star, Juve's Pavel Nedved, decided to return to the national team. It couldn't have happened at a better time.
It was a difficult period for the Czech team, but we are happy that we had Nedved back for the 2 games against Norway. Because such a player, one of the best in Europe, if not the world, was helping us. Everyone was happy about that.
Pavel Nedved had previously hung up his international boots following defeat to Greece at the European Championships. Nedved was named as the European Footballer of the Year in 2003, and although he consistently played at the highest level, he has never been to a World Cup. The 33-year-old retired from international competition so he could concentrate on his club football with Italian giants Juventus. The midfielder was eventually convinced to return to the national side when the players made a plea for their talismanic dynamo to get them through their tough playoff match. With Nedved now back on board, the Czechs travelled to Oslo in expectant mood. Chances were few and far between. Smika had this early attempt after good play from Nedved. The Czechs tried to up the pressure and they pushed hard to make the breakthrough. Then in the 31st minute, Smika fired this powerful header past Myra to give his side the lead. As the Czechs looked for the second, Riise had this chance to level the scores, although Czech was more than a match for the Norwegian on this occasion. At the final whistle, the Czechs had secured a vital away win, an advantage that would be insurmountable for the Scandinavian side, as they also lost by the same margin in Prague. With 2 victories, Buckner's side had ensured they would be heading for Germany in 2006.
The current Czech team can really achieve something. The most important and the main thing is to get through the group stage, so we'll have to wait and see. And then we may need a little luck to get further, but first our goal will be to move on from the group stages.
Cologne is Germany's oldest city and lies in the middle of the country about 65 kilometres east of the Netherlands. Built on the banks of the Rhine, Cologne is regarded as the engine of the German economy. Large-scale industrial development is commonplace in this region. Cologne is well connected and many other World Cup 2006 venues are within easy reach using the cheap rail service. The Romans founded Cologne in 50 BC, and although largely destroyed in the Second World War, many historical landmarks still remain. None are more impressive than the imposing Gothic cathedral. The cathedral dominates the skyline of Cologne and attracts thousands of visitors each year. The riverbank area of the city is packed with cafes and eateries, all of which will be bristling with supporters in June. The Rhine Energy Stadium will host 5 World Cup matches. Home to FC Cologne, this 40,000-seat stadium also hosted games during the 1988 European Championship. In anticipation of the 2006 World Cup, the stadium was redeveloped at a cost of 110 million euros. The first match to be played here will be Angola versus Portugal on Sunday the 11th of June. Group F. 5 times winners, reigning champions and tournament favourites Brazil arrive in Germany with what could be one of their strongest teams ever. Faced with the daunting task of trying to stop them are the formidable force of Croatia, making it their 3rd consecutive World Cup finals, Asia's top-ranked team Japan, now coached by Brazilian legend Zico, and the lads from the land down under, who may be a long way from home, but who will have thousands of fans to cheer them on. Reigning world champions Brazil are going to be a fearsome challenge for any team to face. 5 times winners, twice runners-up, and the only team on the planet to qualify for every World Cup finals, they have a pedigree second to none. This year's team looks to be as formidable as any they've ever sent to the finals. They breeze through their qualifying stages, pipping arch-rivals Argentina to the top spot. Not surprising then that the team will arrive in Germany as the tournament favourites.
It's true that we're favourites. After the World Cup, we won the Copa America and the Confederation Cup. And so now everyone thinks we're going to win the World Cup easily.
Brazil's qualifying campaign got off to a stuttering start with 4 draws in their first 7 games. The nerves then created by defeats to Ecuador and Argentina were finally dispelled with a 5-0 win over Chile, and so they travelled to La Paz for this 1-1 draw with Bolivia, safe in the knowledge that they had qualified and will be able to defend their title. As well as having a host of titles to their credit, this team also has a wealth of talent. The squad is packed with individual players of such brilliance, they're said to be as good as any squad Brazil have ever sent to the World Cup.
Many players like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká are players who have played in a World Cup and already know more or less what we need to do to win it.
Brazil have a factory, of good players. It's fantastic. I never seen any other country, produce a fantastic play like we produce in Brazil. And sometimes it's a problem because the manager cannot put all of them together, at the same game.
What sets Brazil apart is the number of players who are able to single-handedly turn a game around. 25-year-old Ronaldinho, who is Barcelona's playmaker, has the ability to score wonder goals. That's made him World Player of the Year and European Footballer of the Year. Ronaldinho means Little Ronaldo, the name given to him to distinguish him from the actual Ronaldo, himself a former World Player of the Year, who has his sights set on grabbing Gerd Muller's World Cup Finals strike record of 14 goals. In 1998 and 2002, Ronaldo struck 12 times, making his dream a very real possibility. Adding to the strike power is 22-year-old Robinho. The wonder kid has been hailed by legend Pelé as having the potential to be better than the great man himself. Also playing at Real Madrid is Julio Baptista. He's as happy in midfield as he is up front. He's pretty daunting too. Nicknamed La Bestia or the Beast, he has an uncompromising style. Kaká is another of Brazil's rising stars. Although he's just 22, he's already been in a World Cup winning side, and while playing at AC Milan, he's matured into one of the game's greatest talents. Finally, in this embarrassment of attacking riches, there's Inter Milan striker Adriano. He's 6'2" and fearless. He runs at defences and strikes with formidable power. He was Brazil's top scorer in the Copa America, and he'll be hoping to make his mark in the World Cup this time around.
Oh, because normally people see, a fantastic player, fantastic striker. Normally they don't say about the defender, but we have a fantastic defender, fantastic midfield, and our right back and left back. They are one of the best in their position, in the world.
That left back just happens to be Roberto Carlos. The Real Madrid defender is super quick. His immense power enables him to strike the ball to over 100 kilometers per hour, which means he often scores awesome goals. Put all that talent together and the warning to everyone is clear.
For me, it's a good news because it's a big trouble for the other teams, but it's not just them, it need to be a group. If you have a solid team, especially on the back, they can play their best in the front.
With such an abundance of world-class talent packing the squad, it's clear to see why Brazil are tipped for victory. However, World Cup history shows that favourites can fall, a fact that the Brazilians are keeping in mind.
Los jugadores están muy concentrados, sabemos que nunca los favoritos ganan.
We must keep our concentration. We know that the favourites never win, so we must play well and stay focused. We don't want to get surprised like the French. If we don't keep our concentration, we could easily be knocked out in the first group stage. Just like France were in the last World Cup, played 3 games and went out in the first round.
We need to play our best because everyone wants to, especially against Brazil, they want to win because they play the game of their life, and of course we don't want to go back home disappointed. People, we don't have a very good memories, when we get into the World Cup as a favorite, and we had a problem in the past, we don't want to have the same now.
But this side are no strangers to the pressures of a World Cup. Many players were in the 2002 winning side. Indeed, veteran Cafu will be hoping to break the record for a 4th consecutive appearance in a World Cup final. This experience, added to their current form, gives Brazil the added bonus of confidence.
Es diferente porque el Mundial pasado llegamos ahí sin confianza.
This time it's different because in the last World Cup we arrived low on confidence because we had a difficult qualification campaign. Whereas this year we arrive as favourites and it's totally different, especially for those who played in the last World Cup.
The buzz is fantastic. Everyone is happy now to be part of the team, because it's very difficult to be in the group, for Brazilian players, because we have a lot of fantastic players at the same position. If you are there, you need to say, oh, thank God I'm here.
Despite the pressure, all the omens look good for Brazil. But before you think the tournament is sewn up before a ball is kicked, remember Brazil haven't won a World Cup in Europe since 1958. But that won't stop the 182 million football-crazy fans back home expecting anything less than a record 6th World Cup win.
Win again. In Brazil, it's like that, If we win today, if tomorrow we play a different tournament, they expect you to win, all the time we have to. It's the mentality of the Brazilian people. We play under pressure all the time, because if you are a champion of the World Cup for 5 times, of course they want to win all the time. It's normal.
Since reunification, Berlin has been rejuvenated by an injection of modern-day development and investment. The impressive Potsdamer Platz now stands on what used to be a derelict site next to the old East-West divide. This impressive development is typical of a wave of foreign investment that flocked to the Old East following the fall of the Berlin Wall. However, the western part of the city remains largely unchanged, with many poignant reminders of Berlin's recent history. Checkpoint Charlie still endures, although the soldiers manning it have long gone and only their images remain. Berlin is a modern, vibrant metropolis, but the newly found optimism of the city has by no means led to the denial of its traumatic past. The Berlin Wall was dramatically destroyed in 1989, and a brass seal now runs the length of the old divide. However, in the middle of Potsdamer Platz, you can see one of the last remaining pieces of the wall itself. The famous Reichstag reflects the marriage of old and new, which typifies Berlin today, and it's undoubtedly a fitting venue for the final of the World Cup 2006. The final, along with 4 group matches and a quarter-final, will be held here at the Olympic Stadium. A crowd of 75,000 people will be on hand to try and cheer their teams to victory. Over the course of the tournament, 450,000 fans will visit the ground. On the 9th of July, all eyes will be on Berlin, as 2 teams will vie for the most coveted football trophy on earth. Whatever happens with the Olympic Stadium already sold out, it's sure to be a fantastic spectacle. Croatia only joined FIFA in 1992 after gaining independence from the former Yugoslavia. A young team they may be, but they've already proved to be formidable opponents in the World Cup. In France '98, they knocked out the mighty Germany on their way to claiming 3rd place. Although it's been a bit quiet for Croatia since then, they've had a great qualifying campaign, winning 7 out of 10 matches, leaving confidence high that they could be back on top form.
Our success has been very important for our fans back home. We were in a qualifying group with Sweden and Bulgaria, and we still managed to come top of the group. We came home, and although everyone was happy that we'd qualified, that's not enough anymore. They lived from the World Cup to the European Championships, and our team has been fortunate and done well in the last 5 years. We've done well and had 4 big tournaments, and our people have become used to that now. That's because we know that we're a great team and we can achieve something.
Croatia qualified top of an extremely competitive group. They came through their 10 matches undefeated, pushing Scandinavian giant Sweden into second spot. It was a self-assured performance that bodes well for the finals. The team's confidence has also been lifted by new coach Zlatko Krunčar. Himself a hero of the former Yugoslav side and a player in the early Croatian national teams, he took over from Otto Baric after the team failed to advance beyond the group stage in Euro 2004. Having been drawn in one of the toughest groups, Croatia will need to draw on all their skill and talent, and there's some truly world-class players Krunčar can rely on. Up front, goals will come from the boot of star striker Dado Perso. The 32-year-old was Croatia's top scorer in the preliminaries with a total tally of 5 goals. There's a strong creative midfield too, led by Dario Serna, often compared to David Beckham for his precision crosses and free kicks, from which he often hits the net. Also in midfield is the boss's son, Niko Krunčar, but it's merit, not favouritism, that's earned the 22-year-old his place in the squad. Strong with excellent control, he's often compared to Zidane. At the back, Croatia have a pretty tight defence too. Look out for their outstanding centre-back Igor Tudor. He's a giant who missed the World Cup in 2002 due to injury and was sorely missed.
We have a good team and we are capable of a lot, but the first thing we have to do is to make sure we survive the first round. After that, anything is possible. I really believe in our team, and with a trainer like Krunčar, we can achieve a lot.
The Japan-South Korea campaign of 2002 was disappointing for the Croatian team. They lost to Ecuador in their opening game and were on their way home after the group stages. This time around, closer to home, they're hoping their fans will help boost their chances.
The Croatian fans can always create a great atmosphere in the stadium, and they live for the national team. They have a lot of respect for us, for the team, because the team always plays with heart, and fans can see that. But in Germany it will be special, because many Croatians are living in Germany already. So I'm sure that when we play another team, then 60 to 70% of the fans in the stadium will be supporting Croatia.
Although meeting Brazil in the group stage of the World Cup is daunting for any team, Croatia can take heart from the fact that they held the favourites to a draw during this friendly. Niko Krunčar was the man who made the strike. Although Croatia will pull off the shock of the century if they lift the World Cup in Berlin, their self-belief does make them a formidable fighting force, and as they proved before, they have the pedigree to cause some major upsets.
Brazil, France or Germany the favourites to win, but then comes along a team like Greece or Croatia in France '98 when we came third, or like Turkey who did the same in 2002. A small country can make it to the top. As I said, with a bit of luck, anything is possible.
In sports, Australians are no strangers to world domination, having won both the Cricket and Rugby World Cups in the past. But in football, it's a different story. The one and only time the Socceroos qualified for the World Cup was way back in 1974, a tournament that coincidentally also took place on German soil.
To make the World Cup for us after 32 years is a massive thing for the country, for the sport, because we've always been second or third class sport down there, you know. Now that we've made the World Cup, everybody's just talking about soccer in Australia.
Although they've drawn a tough group, Australia are determined they'll better their last World Cup showing when they were sent home without even scoring a goal. Outsiders they may be, but the team is packed with talent who are no strangers to top-level club football, many of them plying their trade in Europe's highest leagues.
To be honest, we've got a good attacking power. Obviously, you know, Tim Cahill, Harry Kewell, myself. Yeah, with Harry, I think he's a world-class player. He's got every attribute, really. You know, he can take on players. He's skillful, he's quick, confident. I think, you know, with him in the team, anything's possible, really. Tim Cahill, he's got great strength, great endurance as a midfielder as well. He loves running off the strikers, he loves coming into the box. Great heading ability. There's also, we've got a good player who plays in Spain, called John Aloisi. Mark Bresciano in Italy for Parma. Good defenders as well, Craig Moore. There's Tony Popovic at Palace as well. I think, to be honest, the great strengths of our team is that we play as a team, all positions. The Aussies, our character as a people is like that. You know, we all fight together for the cause.
All the Aussie elements really started to gel when inspirational manager Gus Hiddink came on board in July 2005. Dutchman Hiddink has taken both Holland and the Korean Republic to World Cup semi-finals. Respected as a master tactician, he's a crucial element in Australia's challenge. Getting through the preliminaries wasn't too hard for Australia. In their Oceania group, they met some of world football's least experienced teams and came through undefeated. That led to a fight for their World Cup lives against Uruguay. It was simply the biggest test Australia have ever had to face. Things didn't go great for the Socceroos in the first leg in Montevideo. They lost 1-0. The omens weren't good for a nation that had been knocked out of the World Cup at this stage 4 times in the past. Next came the home leg in the magnificent Telstra Stadium in Sydney. Football had finally arrived in Australia and the whole nation, it seemed, were out to back the team.
The Uruguay games, I think, were really tense. We played the first game in Uruguay and it was 1-0 to them, and we battled hard, you know, to get that result. And then the second game was out. The fans were there, you know, they were magnificent. It was one of those games where everybody was on the edge of their seats the whole time. They could have scored a number of times in the first couple of minutes. You know, if they had scored, we would have had to score another 3 goals. It was one of those things where, you know, it just went our way. We made that goal, it was quite a nice move. And from then on, I think we just grew in confidence, and they started defending. And I think mentally, because of the crowd that was behind us, I think we had a lot more energy than what they did.
Australia were 1-0 up at the end of the 90 minutes, forcing the game into extra time and then a penalty shootout. It was all square at 1-1 when Schwarzer pulled off this superb stop. Further spot kick success from the Socceroos put them firmly in the driving seat. And all their hopes rested on the shoulders of their captain, Mark Viduka. That missed through a lifeline to Uruguay, but another outstanding save from Schwarzer put the Aussies back on track. In the most important moment in his footballing career, John Aloisi stepped up to take the deciding kick.
I think it's that many years of frustration just taken away. It has been a difficult path, but I think this time has been sweet because we've shown people that we can qualify for the South American group. Most people will remember that for the rest of their lives, that moment.
There'll be plenty to remember from the tournament too. Having only just cut their top-level footballing teeth, you'd forgive Australia for being intimidated at the prospect of meeting favourites Brazil in their group. But the captain at least is looking on the bright side.
What better way to play in a World Cup, to play against Brazil? It will be a great day for Australian football, and it'll be a great day, you know, hopefully if we do well against them as well. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Munich is the capital of the Bavaria region. 1.5 million people live here and is one of the wealthiest German cities. Aside from being a home to high-tech industry, Munich is a very popular tourist destination and will be particularly busy in the World Cup months of June and July. The city boasts a collection of world-class museums, theatres and parks. It was also home to many famous artists such as Kandinsky, Strauss and Ibsen. Munich's lavish Maximilianstrasse is the place to see and be seen. Its countless designer boutiques and expensive restaurants are exclusively frequented by an ever-growing contingent of Germany's rich and famous who choose to call Munich home. Munich is a very traditional city, and this is reflected wherever you go. The Hofbrauhaus is the most popular of Munich's many beer halls. Staff still wear traditional costumes and serve traditional Bavarian beers. Completed in late 2005, the futuristic Allianz Arena has replaced the old Olympic Stadium. The 66,000-seater stadium will host 6 World Cup games in total. It will also be witness to the opening ceremony on the 9th of June as Germany take on Costa Rica. Dortmund is a city made famous by its coal, steel and beer. More recently, the city has been undergoing a transformation, and as the heavy industry pulls out, a steady flow of media and communication companies have moved in. With the influx of these media, communication and high-tech companies, Dortmund's old buildings now share the skyline with sleek modern office blocks. Much of the old city remains unchanged, however. Dortmund has seen a massive development at its heart, which includes an extensive shopping precinct. Train connections from Dortmund will carry you quickly around the country, with Cologne and Gelsenkirchen both within 20 minutes. Whilst the coal and steel industries no longer feature in the city, the breweries are alive and well. 1,500 outlets now sell the locally produced Dortmunder beer. The place to consume your Dortmunder beer is at the Sky Beach, a tropical beach bar recreated on the top of a 7-storey car park in the middle of town. Dortmund is home to Borussia Dortmund's Westfalenstadion, which was built next to the old stadium in 1974. The people of Dortmund are mad about their football, with more than 38,000 inhabitants actively playing for a football club. The 60,000-seat stadium will host one of the World Cup's prestigious semi-finals on the 4th of July, and will also see games featuring Germany, Switzerland and favourites Brazil. After qualifying for the first time in 1998, this will be Japan's third World Cup in a row, after they were co-hosts in 2002. Japan are probably the strongest team in Asia at the moment, underlined by 3 Asian Cup victories out of the last 4.
If you look at individual skill and experience, we probably have more than any of the other Asian countries. We've been trying hard to maintain our high standard of football since France '98, and that's probably been the reason for our continuing success.
And the man leading them through their World Cup 2006 campaign is Brazilian legend Zico.
I feel that the decision I made to become manager of their team is the biggest risk I've taken in my life up to now. I'm here to help them to improve, to achieve their goals.
There's a strong league in Japan, but the best players are exported around the world. And with greater numbers of Japanese players moving west for a new football challenge, the squad is constantly improving.
Firstly, Nakata. He's the most well-known Japanese player and the one breaking lots of records in Europe. He's a very complete player, very strong physically and technically, and is probably right now the best player to look out for in the Japanese team.
I think a player that can do really well is Nakamura. He has been a player that already did very well in the Confederations Cup. He is also a player who has different aspects to his game. He has an extraordinary pass and very accurate shot. He is a player who has loads of technique.
And 2 of the J-League's finest will be in Germany are athletic keeper and crowd pleaser Yoshi Kawaguchi, who minds the net for Jubilo Iwata, and Mitsuo Ogasawara, Kashima Antlers' dynamic attacking midfielder who scores but also works hard in the middle. Japan were the first team to make it through to World Cup 2006 after host Germany, but their qualifying campaign got off to a rocky start. Against North Korea, they took an early lead through Kashima Antlers midfielder Mitsuo Ogasawara. Found it hard going against highly motivated opposition and were paired back in the second half through substitute Nam Song-chol. Japan's keeper Kawaguchi kept the visitors at bay. And then finally, in the second minute of injury time, the 60,000 home fans breathed a collective sigh of relief when Masashi Oguro scored the winner. Having escaped an embarrassing home defeat, they travelled to Tehran, where they lost their second game to Iran. The home team took the lead in the 13th minute from the boot of local hero Vahid Hashemian. And after Nakata's hopeful lofty cross into the box, the ball fell to Takashi Fukunushi, who equalised for Japan 20 minutes into the second half. But with a quarter of an hour to go, Hashemian scored again, heading in from Ali Karimi's pinpoint cross. That defeat demoted Japan to third in the table. But then Japan's qualifying campaign got back on the rails with back-to-back victories over Bahrain. But once again, Zico's team were less than impressive. At home inside Tama Stadium, the only strike of the game came courtesy of this hugely lucky own goal, scored by a disbelieving Mohamed Salmin. It was to be a really important win.
Obviously, Bahrain played really well when they came to Japan, and that little bit of luck that we had at home was very important, and it was that game that really started us on a good run from then on.
2 months later, Japan went to Bahrain, and once again a single goal was enough to decide the game. This time Japan scored their winner themselves midway through the first half. Mitsuo Ogasawara's right boot firing in precisely from the edge of the box. Japan were now back on course and second in the table.
The fact that we worked really hard before the last game against Iran was a very important factor. And what also helped us was that the very tricky game against North Korea that was meant to be away actually took place in Thailand. And that probably gave us an important advantage in that game.
This proved to be Japan's breakthrough game. Goals first from Atsushi Yanagasawa, and then Masashi Oguro, who finished brilliantly, secured a 2-0 win over North Korea, and with it their passport to the finals with a game to spare. For good measure, they won their last game too at home to Iran. Akira Kaji opened the scoring after 28 minutes, tucking in at the far post. Iran had a couple of chances to draw level, before Masashi Oguro scored for the second game in a row, this time with the help of the bemused Iran defence. Iran got their consolation goal from the penalty spot, but it was Japan who won the match and the group with 15 points from a possible 18. For the third time in a row, Japan caught World Cup fever. Group F looks like a battle for second place behind favourites Brazil, but against informed Croatia and Australia, Japan will have to be at their very best to progress past the first round, and have to hope that Brazil will already be through when they face them in the last group game in Dortmund on June the 22nd.
For the last game against Brazil, probably you don't need much in the way of explanation. We all know they're the best team and they have the best players. But if we can get a good result against both Australia and Croatia, we will hopefully have qualified by the time we face Brazil. That would be the ideal scenario.
This is the second time that the Japanese team has qualified for a World Cup, and I feel very proud of what I've contributed to that.
Located in the Baden-Württemberg region of southwest Germany, Stuttgart is one of the most opulent World Cup 2006 host cities. In fact, it's one of the richest cities in all of Germany, which is reflected in the palatial surroundings, expansive parks and decadent city squares. Stuttgart is host to several wine festivals every year, and this is bound to ensure that fans attending the 6 World Cup matches in the city will be in fine voice. The extensive indoor market here is also likely to be popular with the visiting supporters. You can find foods here from all over the world, and it's a good alternative to the pricier restaurants. Stuttgart is also home to Mercedes-Benz. One of their largest factories is based here, as well as their prestigious Museum of Mercedes-Benz. At the museum they have almost every model of Mercedes that has ever been produced, ranging from the first ever motorised carriages to modern day Formula One racing cars. The first match to be played at the impressive Gottlieb Daimler Stadium will be France versus Switzerland on the 13th of June. There will also be 3 further group matches here, featuring the Netherlands, Spain and Croatia. The 54,000-seater stadium will also host a quarter-final as well as the third-place playoff match.